Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I want to show you how you can extend your growing season, depending on where you are, a good 60 to 90 days longer from fall into winter, summer into early fall, depending on where you're living. And you can even start earlier, probably 30 to 45 days earlier because the winters are a bit colder, so you have to wait a little bit for the ground to warm up, winter into spring. But right now the ground is warm, so setting up this type of low tunnel, which I'm going to teach you how to build, really extends the season. The earth is already warm, the plastic on top keeps the space insulated, your crops grow longer. And again, you can do this spring, you can do this in a winter, but remember in the winter the ground's cold, so it takes a while for the plants to get growing. This is not the cheapest way to go about it, but I think it's the most versatile. I think that it's the sturdiest. This is going to last a good 7 to 10 years depending on how you build it. So what you need is a piece of plastic. It should be UV protected. If it's not UV protected, it's only going to last about 2 or 3 years. The sun's going to decay it. This is corrugated, which means it's just ribboned like that. It can be plastic, it can be polycarbonate. What you want to do when you're buying it is you have to make sure you can do this. If you can't bend it like that, then you don't want it. It shouldn't be brittle. And it's going to cost you anywhere from, I don't know, probably $20 to $35 a sheet. These sheets are 25 inches long or wide, and then it's 6 feet long. And then I kind of build the frame to fit the plastic. Always buy the plastic first, and then that will give you an idea of how to build the frame. You can get this wider, you can get this longer. I like the 6-foot piece, and you basically build a 7-foot frame. So you're going to need two 8-foot sides. You're going to need 2 sides. So you're going to need an 8-foot 2x4, and you're going to cut it to size. And then you're going to need some extra scrap either in that piece that you bought, or you have to buy a third piece. And you're just going to cut out one side that's 12 inches long, and then another side down there. And that's how you make your rectangle. And then the plastic's just going to go in there. Couple of tips. The wider you get the plastic, the wider you can make this space, and the more ground you can cover. This is set up to be about 6.5 feet long and 1 foot wide, and this fits perfectly into my 4-foot by 8-foot bed, so I can drop this in to those beds and cover plants that I have growing. And that's why I like this. I just pick up the frame, I move it to where I want to, and then I put the plastic on. You're also going to need to make some sides on there. Let me close this up. And you can use cardboard, and it's raining out right now. It would just go right in here. It's going to cap off the end of the tunnel. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And you just secure it. I'll show you the build at the end by just dropping this straight down, and then you wedge the cardboard right in between there. So you need 2 sticks. You can use tree branches, bamboo posts. Cardboard does get wet, it does get soft. If you want to spend a little extra money, you can get poster board that's made out of, really, it's like plastic, and you can cut it. This way it's waterproof. But the sides work perfectly fine if you use cardboard. You're going to need some jute or any kind of string. You can get a bungee cord. The bungee cord is to secure this down so it doesn't blow off, or you can just make something like this with 2 hoops, and then they're just going to go right onto some screws here, and that will secure your tunnel down. Again, it's a little expensive to make because you're spending $20, $35 per piece of plastic. Maybe you can get it cheaper. You can find it in different places. You can find it in repurposed stores. But it's going to last a good 10 years. Just make sure it has the UV protection. All right, let me show you how easy this is to set up and what it looks like. So remember, the space in here is 1 foot. You can make it 12 inches. You can make it 18 inches. 6.5 feet long. You just have to make sure that when you drop in your plastic, there's a little bit of a gap there so that you can put in your size. Screw right here. Screw right there. That's so that I can take the jute and just pull it over, secure it in, and I did the same thing down on the other side. You want your flexible piece of polycarbonate, and all it does, and you know, you can store this flat, you come outside, you set it up where you want, and just that quick, you create a low tunnel. If you have wider plastic, the peak, the top of the plastic is going to be higher. so you could grow more crops in there. This is set up so I can put in radishes, lettuce, spinach, pak choy, anything that's going to be growing a little bit lower. I can even put in bunching onions. They're not going to get this tall if you're starting them from seed, but they're still going to be delicious. So this is for crops that are going to be a little bit lower. You'd have to get a wider piece, use the 1 foot space here, and that's going to peak up and it'll look something like this. So it's going to be a lot taller. Love the design because now I can take this over to my 8-foot bed, drop it in, and cover up some stuff. I'll show you, what I do with that. To secure the side, see if I can get this stick in here. As you just put the stick in like that, you get your 1 foot piece of cardboard, slide it down, and it's capped off. You want it to be high enough that, there's no gap right there. Again, a piece of plastic poster board will work better, it won't get soggy. That caps it off, keeps the warmth in of the earth at night, keeps the ground from freezing. Low tunnels do protect your plants from the ambient temperature, but all your cool weather crops can really take a freeze and a frost at the leaf level. What you're trying to do is prevent the ground from freezing where the stem of the plant goes into the earth, the roots come out, and that area freezes solid for a prolonged period. That's what kills your plants. This keeps the warmth of the earth right in here and keeps the soil warm, which allows you to grow that extra 60 or 90 days. The higher up you have the tunnel, the more airspace you have, so it cools more. So try and set it up with a height that is tall enough so that your plants can grow, but there's no excess height to create more air in there, which can cool the tunnel down. This is perfect for your leafy greens and your low growing crops. And then finally, you want to be able to secure this. The wind will come and just whip this away. So I just get some string, this is jute, tie 2 loops on the end, and it would go right here on one screw all the way over to the other side. This will keep your plastic from blowing away. This setup, again, I really like it. You can make it as long as you want, depending on where you're growing. If you're just growing in the ground, this could be 8-10 feet tall. You'll need 2 pieces of plastic, of course, to reach that. And I would recommend if you're going to do 2 pieces, you can overlap it down at the end, say by a foot. So you're going to have an 11-foot frame here that can be dropped anywhere. And to just get a close-up, you're putting the post really close to the edge of the tunnel, and then you just slide the cardboard down there, keeps it secure. You're putting a screw in here, nice little hoop at the end, and then you bring the jute all the way over, attach it to the other screw. That's going to be nice and secure. And you would do the same thing here. Down on this end, I have another screw there and one over there, and you can see there's a couple inch gap right there so that the cardboard would slide in there. This now is set up to grow a good 60 days into the colder part of my fall and early winter. And again, radishes, spinach, lettuce, bunching onions, pak choy, bok choy, maybe even some Napa cabbage that is smaller heading. Chinese cabbage will grow really well in there, and you can extend your growing season. Let me show you what it looks like in a garden bed. You have flexibility on how you want to build this frame, and then you just drop the plastic in like I was showing you. I have a lot of 4x8 raised beds. The beans are finishing up. I'm letting some of them dry, so I have dried beans for the winter. Leeks, I'm going to pull out a couple in there. But you can see that this, probably, it's not even quite 6.5 feet, is going to fit nicely right into my raised bed. So I'll be able to put in some of my cool crops and grow through the winter right in that space. Again, because the soil is warm, your seeds are going to germinate more quickly. The warmth is going to be there, so you can really grow a good 60, 90 days into the late fall or winter, depending on where your garden is. If you're going to do this in the spring, the ground's going to be frozen, so you have to set this up, put the dome on top of it or put the plastic on top, let the soil defrost, warm up, all that. So let me just clear this out, and I'm going to drop in the frame and set the space up. I cleared out the space, remove the weeds, loosen the soil, just take your shovel a couple inches deep and then loosen it up. I have a new blog. It's called therustedgardenblog.com. 2 articles are in there now. If you're looking for lists of cool weather crops you can grow You can find that there now. The site's under construction, so give it a month or two for all the bits and pieces to be in place, but the articles are there. So once you clear out your space, and again, this is a 4 foot by 8 foot bed, this is about 6.5 feet long, I can just drop it right into place, and this is how I can extend my season by a good 60 days here in Maryland, if not longer. In the space, you could add in some compost if you need to. There's usually enough fertilizer in there from the spring and summer, etc., that your winter crops will do fine. You can also just water them in with a water-soluble fertilizer. I recommend AgroThrive. I'm affiliated with them. It's organic. Check out the video description. But any quick watering of a water-soluble is plenty for your late fall and winter growing. So if I want to put in some radishes, leave a gap here. Leave a gap from the edge of about 1 inch. I think that's about 2.5 centimeters, just so when the plastic goes on, you're not smashing your plant. So if I want to drop in radishes, I will put just a little finger hole, about a 1/4 inch deep, every inch, all the way down. That's where I'll grow my radishes. And the size here is only 12 inches. You can go ahead and make this wider if you want. You can get a bigger piece of plastic for a bigger dome. Let me move that out of the way. And grow differently. But with a 1 foot space, I have radishes along there, and then, I don't know, every 4 to 6 inches, I'll put a hole, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch deep, and I will put my spinach right in there. Perfect for winter growing. Once that's all planted, of course, you cover it over, you water it. You may only have to water it, once or twice because the temperatures are getting cooler. The dome will keep moisture in there, but just keep an eye on it. And then you get your plastic, and it's really this easy. Line it up, drop it in, take your stick, put it against here, let's slide that down, right against the dome, or right against the plastic. Take your side, drop it in, and then you need to get your string, find the screw back there, pull it over, attach it to the screw right here, and you do the same thing on the other side. That's not going to blow away. This is good to go. If the temperatures are getting into the upper 70s, make sure you remove the sides, let it vent through, because this can overheat in here, and our fall temperatures fluctuate a whole lot. Like, it's the 4th day of rain here. It's humid, it's warm again, it's really bizarre. But take the sides off when the temperatures are going up, and that will help vent this so the plants don't basically bolt. If it gets too warm in there, the roots get warm, a lot of your crops will send up flower heads, they'll try and turn to seed. So you want to keep this area cool. This works really well fall into winter because the ground is warm. These seeds are going to germinate really quickly. If you were using this from winter into spring, you're going to have to set this up and probably let it sit for a good 7 days to help thaw the earth before you put your seeds in. Remember, when the ground is frozen and cold, everything germinates much more slowly. If we now need to tend this, say things have been growing, we want to keep an eye on things. And one thing you want to keep in mind is that the insects are really active right now. So you want to check on this more often than not to make sure there's no insects getting in there and just kind of infesting your plants. So to check on it, remove the string, take the plastic off, take care of what I need to take care of, and then when I'm done, just this quickly, you put it back on, put the strap back on, so to speak, slide the side in, and you're good to go. Let me show you a close-up of this space. This is what it looks like close up. You get the idea. Do the same thing down on the other side. This design, one more time, you can expand it to be, instead of 12 inches here, 18 inches. You can get wider polycarbonate or plastic. That will bring the peak up higher. You can grow different plants in there. But with this setup, I can easily put 2 of these into my garden, maybe 3, depending on the size, but at least another one in there, and I can grow that additional 60 to 90 days. Please subscribe and follow me. I'll show you how I grow through the winter. I'll teach you how to grow food, tend a garden, have some fun, and most importantly, my garden, like all gardens, are a work in progress. So you're going to see them how they really look. They're not going to be HDTV ready most of the time. Thanks so much for watching, and please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And again, please subscribe. I'll teach you how to grow food in 2025. Thanks for watching.